Happy Friday. It's the 12th of July. Appreciate you joining us for our quick whip around the main stories around Thailand. Now, I ended up getting to bed very late last night, way past my bedtime. Number one arrives back from Bangkok, plane 2.5 hours late. Ended up getting home about 12:30, of course, up always around 5:30 in the morning. So I've had a few cups of coffee and we'll get into it. Now, we've had a bit of a theme of scams since last Saturday. Here's another one on the Cowsort English Facebook page. On July 11, a group of victims reported a case of fraud to the CIB in Thailand. They accused a company of deceiving them with false promises of agricultural jobs in Australia and New Zealand. Each victim paid 100,000 baht for processing fees but was unable to travel as promised. Over 100 people have fallen victim to this scam. More victims, more creative scams, and there will be more in the future. Just please be extra vigilant. And yes, the old adage, if it seems too good to be true, probably is. Now, weather's been in the news the last couple of days. Certainly the last couple of days we had our fair share of rain here in Pattaya. But bright blue skies this morning, not so yesterday in Pattaya. Heavy rain causes flash floods in Pattaya. This is from the PattayaNews.com. And heavy downpours for over an hour on Wednesday morning, July the 11th, caused flash flooding in Pattaya, affecting several roads and causing traffic disruptions. We're watching some excellent video posted on the Pattaya News YouTube page. Downpour around 8 a.m. yesterday resulted in water levels rising to 50 to 80 centimetres in some areas. That's nearly 2 to 3 feet in the Imperial. This caused several roads to become impassable for small vehicles and motorcycles, particularly along the railway line from Soi Katalo to Soi Watam, Sukhumvit Road and Nong Mai Ken Road. And the rapid flooding caused inconvenience and disruption to numerous residents. The floodwaters also seeped into some homes and caused damage to furniture. So it was Phuket's turn a couple of weekends ago with severe flooding and disruption to traffic and destruction of homes and cars. This question's been asked in Pattaya, and from the Pattaya One News, who are feeling thoughtful. The locals are questioning why floodwaters rose so quickly and did not drain into the sea after heavy rainfall inundated Pattaya. Several roads in the popular seaside town were submerged under nearly 2 metres of water following more than an hour of torrential rain on Thursday morning. And traffic in Pattaya came to a halt as most cars could not navigate the high waters. Several small cars were almost completely submerged in the flood. Heaven knows how much money's been spent over the years to mitigate the flooding problem in Pattaya. Bigger pipes, more pipes, digging up the beach road. I've reported it for the 13 years I've been here in Thailand. So I'm interested to know if you live in Pattaya, has the flooding, or the flooding yesterday in particular, been any worse than what might be considered normal monsoonal flooding? Now, we mentioned about Phuket a couple of weeks ago. There's a warning out for this weekend. The Bangkok Post reporting Phuket on alert for bad weather from Saturday. And all agencies on Phuket Island have been placed on high alert after weather forecasters issued a warning of possible torrential rain along the Andaman coast, which could trigger strong winds, floods and rough seas. And the instructions, stamped very urgent, asked them to keep a close watch on conditions and keep residents informed amid worries that downpours could unleash flash floods, mudslides and landslides with water overflowing reservoirs. And Phuket experienced chaos on June the 30th when persistent rain put the holiday island underwater, disrupting traffic and delaying inbound and outboard flights. I think there were some 18 flights affected. Some airlines had to divert planes and land at other airports. Now, of course, flooding happens in other parts of the country as well, and we acknowledge that. But at the moment, it seems like, again, Phuket and Pattaya are in the spotlight. Maybe overdevelopment, lack of planning is causing some of these problems that exacerbate the torrential rain. So let's go to the actual weather in Phuket. And Friday, okay, we're going to have some rain. Saturday and Sunday, a little bit of rain, but it seems to get worse from next Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, when we're going to have over a 50% chance of rain. Now let's go to Pattaya, the weather there, and again Friday, Saturday and Sunday there will be rain, but not anything more than say 50%. But on Monday, Tuesday next week it looks like there will be up to 70-80% chance of rain during the day into Wednesday as well. So weather on our minds, and I am interested to know whether you think that the flooding is any worse than it's been in the past. Yes, we do get floods all around the country at different times of the year, but I'm sort of wondering whether the overdevelopment in places like Pattaya and Phuket, the very rapid development, perhaps hasn't been matched with proper planning to allow for these floodwaters to escape back to the sea. Interested to hear what you say. As I mentioned yesterday, we're going to be talking about retirement and specifically some of the issues that face people that decide to stay in Thailand and how they plan for their future, maybe all the way through to the finish. So we're not going to be recommending any particular insurance companies or specifics like that. We want to talk about the overarching issues and things that you probably need to think about, including some planning and chats with the people around you about what your plans are, so that they may be able to be involved and understand what your plans are. We'll talk about that tomorrow. It's a live program between 9 and 10. We do look forward to your comments, because at the end of the day, I'll just be there as a conductor of the orchestra. I want you to share your thoughts about what you're doing for your retirement, specifically if you're staying here in Thailand. And now to the ongoing problem of Myanmar. This in the Bangkok Post. Thai banks lack capacity to screen Myanmar deals. There was a report out a couple of weeks ago from the UN pointing to a number of Thai banks that were complicit in helping the Myanmar Junta, the military leaders there, continue to do banking with arms dealers around the world, and will just continue to keep their economy going. So the Thai banks are saying, we lack capacity. And major Thai banks have defended themselves yesterday against criticism that they facilitated weapons purchases by the Myanmar junta, saying they lacked the capacity to investigate all transactions that might be used for such purposes, and that they strictly followed existing regulations. And a report last month by a UN expert said that companies registered in Thailand utilised 5 Thai banks to transfer weapons and related materials valued around $120 million last year, compared to $60 million the year before. The materials supplied to the Ministry of Defence by companies based in Thailand ranged from spare parts for helicopters and aircraft to dual-use goods such as radio communications and IT equipment, medical supplies, construction materials, tools, lubricants and oils. And a senior executive vice president at the Krung Thai Bank said lenders have strictly complied with regulations, and he said this is beyond what we need to know. The banks do not have this kind of investigators. So he's saying the bank doesn't know who's putting money in the bank, who's taking it out. It's beyond what we need to know. And he said all commercial banks would comply if the government and regulators make it clear which entity they cannot do business with. And the 5 Thai commercial banks named in the UN report, Krung Thai, Siam Commercial Bank, Bangkok Bank, TMB Thanachart Bank and Kasikorn Bank. And none of them responded to requests for comment from Reuters. Now, this would perhaps be a much bigger story if there wasn't so much other stuff happening around the world grabbing the headlines at the moment. But certainly I'd like to know a lot more about the involvement of these 5 Thai banks. If there's any more uncovering of information by the media or the UN, I'll certainly be the first to pass that on. And with thanks to our sponsors, 5-Star Marine, 5starmarinephuket.com. I think you probably remember that by now. Also, Beach House Thailand. Links in the description below for both those particular businesses if you'd like to find out more. Now, something that was doing the rounds yesterday on Facebook, saw it a few times. It said, best tourist attractions in the world. Number 1, Walking Street, Pattaya, including to their number 9, number 13, both in Southeast Asia, Gardens by the Bay in Singapore, Angkor Wat, of course, in Cambodia. So some people actually taking it a little bit seriously, but this person at least understood it was a joke. Michael said, joke, right? Please tell me that this is a joke. Well, in fact, it is. The actual Traveller's Choice Awards, best of the best things to do. And here's the real list with the Empire State Building number 1. Then we've got the Eiffel Tower. Then we've got Anne Frank's house, a basilica in Spain. And then we've got the Cayman Crystal Caves and the Colosseum. Number 7 is the Louvre Museum in Paris, and then Gardens by the Bay in Singapore. So that's the actual list. So a bit of a fun post doing the rounds. It was attracting a bit of attention to Pattaya and specifically Walking Street. But some media attention is not appreciated apparently in Pattaya. We go to this story in cowsodenglish.com. Pattaya business people protest against Sin City label by media. Entrepreneurs, local leaders and residents in Pattaya gathered at the entrance of Pattaya Walking Street, that's last night, to protest a cable news channel that used headlines suggesting Pattaya is a sin city and a grey paradise for tourists visiting the land of prostitutes. I would have thought Thailand generally would have had more to complain about here, being referred to as the land of prostitutes as distinct from its usual land of smiles. And among the protesters there were people holding signs calling for the repeal of anti-prostitution laws and signs demanding the abolition of laws criminalising sex workers. There was also a trend on social media with hashtag Save Pattaya, along with demands for the media outlet to take responsibility. So I did a perfunctory search when I saw this, trying to find out what the cable channel was and sort of see the whole story in context, to see what people are so riled up about. And subsequently, the news station, again I don't know who they are, issued an apology stating their intention to present the issue to help lead to legislation protecting sex workers. And business representatives don't deny that Pattaya has a significant number of sex workers, about 30,000 apparently, but they believe using such strong language and presenting a negative image of Pattaya ignores the many other attractions that draw tourists from around the world. Well, business representatives, that's sort of your job to portray Pattaya in a more positive light, but of course it's the sex tourism that's far more lucrative. The Deputy Mayor of Pattaya stated that no one in Pattaya likes this characterisation. He emphasised that Pattaya has traditions and culture, beautiful seas, the famous Koh Larn, and hosts many events to stimulate the tourism economy, including world-class sports events like the Pattaya Marathon. And he noted that nightlife entertainment exists everywhere, not just Pattaya. So hashtag storm in a teacup. I mean, this is almost as silly as when the police and the city officials and the tourist police all get together and they march down Walking Street or Bangla Road in Phuket or maybe Soi 6 in Pattaya saying everything's fine here, there's no prostitution. At the end of the day, so many people from around the world go to Pattaya and places like Bangla Road and Soi Cowboy for one particular reason. There's no reason why the Thai government should sort of shy away from this and pretend it doesn't happen. It does. So I still want to see this story from this so-called cable channel, so at least I can get a better understanding of what's going on. And with that, I thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand. We've got our special program tomorrow about issues related to retirement and getting older here in Thailand. That's between 9 and 10 a.m. Thai time. You can join the forum and you can share your points of view on that particular matter. Otherwise, have a fantastic Friday, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow or otherwise next Monday.